So guys, today it is match day 9 of my championship score predictions. We have got an early batch of games tonight, so we've got to get our predictions in as quickly as we can. If you guys are wondering, this is what the current Lexalexus Football Prediction League is looking like. Johnny Burrow still in pole position. I have closed the gap a little bit based on my performance last week. To enter the prediction league, all you got to do is enter your score predictions in the comments down below. You can always pause the video and look at the description down below so that you guys can make your predictions. This is what the League 1 Lexalexus Football Prediction League looks like. Vinny Easton currently leading that league. There'll always be a second half in the video where I predict my Premier League predictions. If you guys want a separate league for that, please do give the video a like, it does tremendously help. But if we get to 1,000 subscribers, I will make a brand new Lexalexus Football Prediction League exclusively for Premier League predictions. So if you guys want that, hit that subscribe button if you are new around here. It does tremendously help the channel. We're nearly at 800 subscribers, so let's try and keep that push going. And please share this video to as many people as you can. All of that really helps. But without any further ado, let's start predicting these weekend's games. So start off with the 7:45 kickoff today, Coventry going up against Peterborough. Now, quite a few developments has gone from this game, exclusively from Peterborough's sense, that Johnson Clark-Harris has been banned by the FA for 4 games based on past social media posts. Maybe a bit harsh based on the age he was when he sent those posts. I know the posts are morally not right, and he'll most definitely not do it again, but is 4 games particularly fair? I mean, let me know what you guys think on the whole situation in the comments down below. Now, Coventry have got the best home record in the league, a 100% home record. They face a Peterborough side with a 100% losing record away from home. So, definitely it'll be a very typical championship results if all those stats are flipped on its head and Peterborough get an away win. The goal scoring records is very similar, both scoring 11 goals so far this season, but Coventry have a much better defence with 3 clean sheets so far this season compared to Peterborough's only 1 clean sheet. And that was actually their last game where Cornell was in goal for Peterborough, and it will be very likely that he will stay as Peterborough's #1 goalkeeper. I think Pim is going to find it quite tricky to now get back into that goalkeeping position. I'm a bit more confident with Coventry based on their strong home form. So for that sense of it, I'm going to say a 3-1 win to Coventry, although I would not be surprised if Peterborough could get something. FIFA 21 is going to say a 1-1 draw. So the next game is the second game happening today, which is West Brom going up against Queen's Park Rangers. This game I'm definitely going to keep a very close eye on because both these sides I'm really being impressed with what I've seen so far. However, both have stalled in their form quite recently. Both teams have failed to win in their last 3 matches. However, West Brom have got a really strong record to boast about, that they're only one of 2 championship teams remaining to still not lose a game so far this season. QPR will be feeling positive that they triumphed a Carabao Cup win against Premier League Everton over penalties. Seny Dieng being an absolute hero, saving Tom Davies' penalty, which was the deciding save in the end. And they've got to play against League 1 Sunderland in the next round. So QPR could fancy your chances for a quarter-final in a competition, which would be a really good statement for Queen's Park Rangers in general. The last 2 games between the 2 sides have been very memorable. I remember the 7-1 win from West Brom, where Steve McLaren was in absolute tatters with Queen's Park Rangers at the start of the season. And their last game at the Hawthorns was the 2-2 draw, which was the final game of the season, which sealed West Brom's promotion, but it was very nervy for them knowing that Brentford were trying to catch up with them. So going to this game now, I think based on current performances and form, I think QPR may be a little bit more fatigued than West Brom. I'm going to go with a 2-1 win to West Brom. FIFA 21 is going for a 0-0 draw. So the early game going on Saturday is Reading going up against Middlesbrough. Now, Reading are definitely the underdogs in terms of a head-to-head record against Middlesbrough, as they've only won twice in their last 12 appearances against this Middlesbrough side. Reading do need to pick up points. I spoke about a couple of days ago that Reading could get a 9-point deduction for breaking financial fair play rules. So definitely Reading will need to pick up these points as soon as they can amidst, the possibility that they can get these points deductions. Middlesbrough being a team also really struggling with form. Only 9 points so far in their first 8 games. Only 2 clean sheets and 1 win in 6. which those stats are just not good enough with the expectation that Middlesbrough should have with a championship promotion winning manager like Neil Warnock. Reading though are struggling themselves with their injuries. They've got 5 centre-backs injured. That's right, 5 centre-backs injured. And they've got attacking players injured such as Aziz and Lucas João and Yaku Mate. So it's pretty much been their injury record that has really let Reading down this season. But based on the starts that both these sides have had, Reading might approach this game and actually be more up for it. Middlesbrough have just not really turned up for me so far this season. So I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I think they'll cancel each other out. FIFA is going for a 0-0 draw. So the first of the 3 o'clocks, we see Birmingham going up against Preston. Now, just to give you a contrast on how Birmingham's defence has really been catastrophic in the last 2 games. They've only conceded an average of 0.5 goals a game in their first 6 matches. Following their 4-1 and 3-0 consecutive defeats, so conceding 7 in their last 2 games, they now concede an average of 1 goal a game, which is twice as bad as it was in their opening 6 games, which just goes to show Birmingham need to try and recover this. Preston have stretched an unbeaten run for 5 games now, although they have had 3 draws in a row, but they've been against really good teams, such as recently relegated Sheffield United and, of course, West Brom. And Preston will be even more happy that they've qualified for the last 16 of the Carabao Cup, beating Cheltenham by 4 goals to 1. They've got to face Liverpool at Deepdale. So technically the Ben Davies derby, if we were to use a loose translation of that. Birmingham will have to deal with Gary Gardner being suspended. And following this, they may revert back to a 3-5-2 formation, which I prefer if they use that formation. And they may allow Preston to be a bit more expressive on the ball. Based on the form books, I might back Preston here. I won't be surprised if it was a draw, but I'm going to say North End will get a 1-0 away win. I've just got a funny feeling about Preston, and FIFA is predicting a 0-0 draw. So next I've got Blackburn going up against Cardiff. Blackburn have only lost 1 game so far in their opening 8 games, and that was against recently relegated West Brom as well. Cardiff, however, have lost 3 out of their last 4 games. So Cardiff's form has really started to stutter a little bit. They've fallen down to 10th place in the table now following this. Now what I'm intrigued to see is that which side's going to carry the ball most, because both of these sides don't tend to cover the ball. Blackburn, with only an average of 41% possession over their opening 8 games, Cardiff just above that with 48%. Maybe it will be Cardiff that carry a lot of the ball, but when I've seen Cardiff have more of the ball, they suffered for it. They had more of the ball against Bristol City and they lost 2-1 to them. So if Blackburn do hit Cardiff on the break and they allow Cardiff to have the ball, it could play to Cardiff's disadvantages here. There have been 4 draws out of the last 6 meetings in this game. Potentially, I think based on the qualities that both these teams have, I might say they cancel each other out again. I'm going to say a 1-1 draw between the 2 sides, and FIFA, once again, saying a 0-0 draw. All I've got to say, I hope when I get FIFA 22, we're not going to see as many 0-0 draws as that. Next up, we've got Blackpool going up against Barnsley. Both these sides with very similar forms, 8 points they've collected so far this season. Although, Barnsley, looking at their form, is not great. They've not won in their last 6 games, but they've only lost twice this season, which just goes to show that they have drawn way too many games. They've drawn 5 games so far, the joint most with Millwall. Now, Blackpool have picked up 2 wins in their last 3 games. In fact, their first 2 wins in their last 3 games, which is exactly the size I needed to see for Blackpool if they were going to compete this season. I want to talk my praises on Brad Collins because I've got to thank EFL Stats for providing this stat for me. He's actually prevented the most goals according to the XG from opposing games. He has actually prevented up to 6.5 goals this season based on XG, and he has saved 2 penalties so far this season. So Brad Collins definitely deserves a lot of credit from preventing Barnsley to lose even more points than what they've already got. It will be difficult for Barnsley since they have got injuries to both Williams. They've got Morris injured, they've got Benson injured, they've got Mads Anderson injured as well, which both could be in the starting 11. This could affect them, but I think against a Blackpool side, I think Barnsley could be okay. I'll cancel each other out again and say a 1-1 draw. FIFA is going for 1-0 Blackpool, which honestly wouldn't surprise me. Next up, we've got Bournemouth going up against Luton now. Both of these teams know how to score. Both of them have been averaging at least 1.5 goals a game so far this season. However, these two games were so incredibly difficult to predict last year because we both fought off the same. Both these sides like scoring goals, but both meetings against them last year, we only had one goal in those two meetings, and that was when Luton beat Bournemouth by 1-0. Bournemouth failed to beat Luton last year, so Bournemouth found it really tough to beat Luton. And this will be interesting following that Bournemouth are now first place in the table. They have got a really good form so far, with joint most wins so far this season with Fulham and Coventry with 5 wins out of their opening 8 games. Luton have drawn 4 times in a row, 3 of them involving a last minute goal, so hopefully we see some drama in this game. Can Bournemouth lose their unbeaten record? I'm going to say they'll keep it, but I think it'll be really, really scary for them. I'm going to say a 5-goal thriller. 3-2. I could be making the same mistake I made last year, thinking that there will be many goals and this could be a 0-0 draw. I won't be surprised at this rate, but I'm going to back both of these teams to go for it. So I'll say 3-2, and FIFA is going 1-0 Bournemouth. Next I've got Bristol City going up against Fulham. Now, Bristol City, I have to say, I think I've been a little bit harsh on them this season because their form has been relatively good. They've only lost 1 game so far this season. They are unbeaten in 4 games. They're still looking for their first home win though in 14 matches. In their 4 home games so far this season, they've lost 1, but they've drawn the other 3. I think Bristol City are desperate to find this first home win for such a long time. Now, Fulham have played in the Carabao Cup, so they can be quite fatigued. But I felt they were very unlucky to get knocked out the way that they did on penalties against Leeds United. Of course, it was Rodrigo Muniz who had the deciding penalty missed, unfortunately for him. And Fulham have lost twice in 3 games in the Championship, and actually 3 games in 4 in all competitions. So Fulham definitely need to try and step up their form a little bit. I know they've got injuries, especially in the midfield area with Kearney and Carvalho injured, but they can still have a lot of good options in that area, and it shouldn't be an excuse for them to lose the way that they do. Now, Bristol City do have a stronger record against Fulham, so I'm tempted to give them something here. But I think based on the firepower that Fulham have got, the signings they've made, they are just game-changing players, and I think they'll find a way around this. It'll be close. I'm going to say 2-1 Fulham, and FIFA is going to go for a 0-0 draw again. Next up, we've got Nottingham Forest going up against Millwall. Of course, this is going to be Steve Cooper's first game in charge as Nottingham Forest manager, which I'm going to be very, very interested to see how he does with this Nottingham Forest side. Is he going to change the formation? Is he going to completely change the squad players? I'm really going to be excited to see what Nottingham Forest team he puts out against this Millwall side. Now, both teams have really struggled with form. Both have only picked up 1 win respectively this season. Millwall have drawn 5 of their last 8 games, and a big problem for Millwall last season was that they'd drawn too many games. So the same old problems are coming back to haunt Millwall. Now, they've only had 1 clean sheet as well, Millwall as well. So Forest could fancy their chances that maybe Millwall defensively are not as strong as we have associated them. Now, Forest have a 100% losing home record though. And now the new manager in the field, maybe they'll eventually turn it around. I'm going to go for a bit of a shock, and I'm going to say Nottingham Forest get back-to-back wins. I'm going to say a 1-0 Nottingham Forest win. I could be completely wrong on this, but new manager tends to spring a couple of good results. So I'm going to say 1-0 Nottingham Forest, and FIFA 21 is going for a 0-0 draw. Next game, we've got Sheffield United going up against Derby. A lot of attention will be on Derby for the fact they were handed their 12-point administration points. So now they are minus 2 points. So now their incredible form has got to really start from now already so that they can catch up to the teams around them. I think for Derby to survive, they've got to play and match the form of like a really good mid-table team to really have a good chance of surviving. Sheffield United, of course, they're unbeaten in 4 games and are now climbing up the table. However, they did have a devastating loss in the Carabao Cup, losing to penalties against Premier League Southampton. But you've got to go through the transformation of Sheffield United. After only 1 goal in 5 games, they've scored 11 in their last 3. What a transformation. I think a lot of that is down to Ndai, but also I think down to Morgan Gibbs-White as well. But those 2 players for me have really transformed that team. Derby, I'm a bit worried about their away form. They've only scored 2 away goals in their 4 games so far this season, and their 2 defeats have come from away games as well. But they have picked up a good result, like a 0-0 draw against West Brom, a brilliant performance by Kelly Roos. I just think Derby away from home are not as good at home. Of course, at home, Derby have not lost a game. I'm going to go for a 3-1 Sheffield United win. and FIFA is going for a 0-0 draw again. Next game is Stoke going up against Hull. Now, Hull have not won in 7 games, the worst form we've seen in the Championship. 4 defeats in those 7 games as well. Stoke are still in the top 6, and they obliterated Stoke last time with a 5-1 win back in May last year. I think it was Nick Powell and Sam Clucas who both got a brace. It was a brilliant performance by both of them. Hull's problem this season has been goals. They've been the lowest goal scorers in the league so far, only scoring 5 goals. And of course, 4 of them, as we know, came the opening day against Preston. Of course, Hull fans will be happy that they finally have scored their first goal in 10 hours against Sheffield United. It was a nicely worked goal as well, down in the right-hand side, breaking away with pace, and Keane Lewis Potter being clinical. And those players are so important for Hull, I can't even tell you. Stoke have earned a Carabao Cup round 16 game after a 3-1 impressive win against Premier League Watford. And Stoke have won their last 6 out of their 7 games against Hull. So I think for the form books, you've got to back Stoke, really, to be honest. Even that they played in the Carabao Cup, I think they still will be refreshed and have just got the better squad. So I'm going to go for a 2-0 win to Stoke. FIFA's going 1-0 to Stoke. And the final game to predict is Swansea going up against Huddersfield. Now, Huddersfield did the double over Swansea last season, which included a bizarre 4-1 win in the John Smith Stadium. It was definitely one of those results that definitely shocked me. I remember that result very vividly. Despite Huddersfield starting well this season, they have lost twice in their last 3 games, and they were both against Stoke and Nottingham Forest, which I think Forest especially, they were very poor. Now, Swansea, I've been disappointed with them as well. They've only picked up 1 win so far this season, which of course was against Bristol City. And they've also been winners in their last 4 games as well. They have picked up 3 draws, but they're really starting to skate on thin ice. If they had not picked up that last minute equaliser against Luton, they'd be this weekend in the bottom 3 trying to get out of that fight. Now, for this game, I'm thinking Huddersfield. I'm just more confident with their squad based on what they play at as well. I think Swansea will still have quite a fair bit of the ball, but I'm not seeing too many improvements. I think Huddersfield will beat them. I'm going to say 2-1 to the away side. FIFA saying 2-0 Swansea. So guys, these are my predictions for the Championship Match Day 9. Make sure, as always, you comment your predictions in the comments down below for a chance to be on the Prediction League. And if you're wondering, on the left hand side of the screen are my Premier League predictions. And to remind you again, if you guys do want to see a Prediction League for the Premier League, 1,000 subscribers, I'll make a brand new Prediction League based on Premier League predictions. But if you guys like what you see, please give the video a like. It just from out. Let's aim for 20 likes in this video. Please subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, or if you haven't done it, it does really help the channel. Please share this video and this channel to as many people as you can. All that really helps. But that'll wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are legendary for seeing this video. And as always, I'll see you guys very, very soon. Take care, everyone.